Alright. Yeah, let's play some more Fruit of Grooming. So, get rid of the test again, huh? Okay, so is Sachi gonna do her best HEK impression again? Where she just, like, either burns or does whatever to just destroy her school. And everyday life is like a tower of blocks built by a child. I mean, of course, like, the kid in the Angry German Kid video never actually really destroyed his school. Like, this was from, like, a well-known parody series back in the day where eventually he just gets that sick and tired of being forced to go to school that he just has it blown up. He never did that in real life. Yeah, it's basically these Angry German Kid parodies with just people putting English subtitles over German that, assumably, this probably wouldn't work at all if you actually knew how to speak German, because you'd be reading subtitles you would very well damn know are completely wrong. And everyday life is like a tower of blocks built by a child. In other words, a random assortment of materials in all sizes. Shapes and kinds thrown together haphazardly into a structure that just barely manages to stay balanced. Yeah, so with those subtitles and just a lot of imagination, you can really go a long way with those parodies. Commonly, Angry German Kid would be attending school and would easily be, like, the worst student in his school. And, like, it would be, like, literally no contest, either. When even a single block starts to tremble, the whole tower will begin to teeter dangerously, placing especially heavy stress on the pieces closest to disturbance. And the more crucial that block is to the stability of the whole, the more severe the disruption. Whatever shall I do, Amane? I was just playing with my Professor Dave and Tuna Fish Man figures, and Dave's arm got torn clean off. Torn off? Just how the heck were you playing with those things? That's what I want to know. They were having an interspecies MMA tournament. Tuna Fish Man was trying to deliver an Argentine backbreaker, but Dave's arm didn't twist right. Well, I guess we'll just have to stick it on with some super glue. Don't know if we have any, though. We don't? Is all hope lost? Is Dave doomed to a one-armed life? Not to worry, even if I don't have any, I'm sure Sachi... Alright. Amane stops halfway through a sentence with a glance toward the window where Sachi stands in the full maid uniform, gazing vacantly out at the scenery. After returning from our date 3 days ago, the girl's been constantly looking off into the distance with the dazed demeanor of some grizzled old soldier who's just discovered the war ended 5 years ago. Morning, Sachan. Nice weather today, huh? Yes. Mishima Cape will be clear in the morning, but cloudy in the evening with a 20% chance of rain. That a fact? Guess I better dry out my futon while I can. While you're at it, perhaps you should dry some radishes and mackerel as well. Yeah, sure. Yeah, this says part 7, doesn't it? Pretty sure it does, of course. Yeah, part 7. So we're gonna have, like, another school burning to the ground soon. Since, well, that's literally what happened the last time Sachi was instructed to get rid of a midterm, or a test in general. So, let me guess, are we gonna have another school? This school in particular just burning up in flames. Apparently she's lost in thought. The first of the others to realize Sachi's abnormal condition was Michiru. Understandably enough, considering she's dependent on the girl's help for a good third of her daily routine. But her vague report that Sachi's acting kinda weird spread throughout our small dormitory in the blink of an eye. And after 3 straight days of this odd behavior, everyone's obviously begun to treat their communal mate a little gingerly, generally refraining from their normal barrage of requests. Guess we should go buy some at the convenience store after all. Oh, but Sachin's totally got some. Going out to the store is such a waste of my severely limited supply of effort. I've got your glue right here. Wait, where do you usually get the super glue from anyways? Yuji? You're the best, Oni-chan. Guess you ain't Sachin's boyfriend for show after all. While we're out, I'll reattach Professor Dave's arm for you. What? You're for real? Yeah, I'm no surgeon, but I've got experience suturing level 2 lacerations. Leave it to me. I got no friggin' idea what suturing has to do with anything, but I'm totally convinced anyway. I provide the glue they needed and even reattach the good professor's arm. Normally, this would be a satisfactory resolution of the matter, but Amane seems disinclined to give me a pat on the back. Of course, I did give everyone a rough explanation once they noticed Sachi's strange behavior. But since I deliberately stayed vague on the details, it seems I haven't quite convinced them to passively sit on their hands. Got something to say, I'll listen. More like a question. What are you planning to do about this, Yuji? Didn't I already explain this? Until Sachi finds the answer on her own, I'm going to stand by and watch over her. Okay, but doesn't that mean she could go her whole life without finding this answer? Can't deny the possibility exists. Oh boy. Also, if Sachin stays this way too long, we're gonna have a bunch of problems on our hands. Like what specifically? Michiru's diet is gonna consist entirely of instant ramen. She was squawking about how the washing machine tore up her favorite blouse yesterday, you know? So first of all, Michiru's going to hit a lifestyle crisis. Not just Michiru, Sachan's hard work is supporting all of us behind the scenes, you know? Can't deny Amane is a point. Apart from looking after the care and feeding of Michiru, Sachi's been more or less single-handedly maintaining the facilities of the school. In terms of her duties, she's less of a class rep and more of a diligent janitor. With no one playing that role, it's all too clear that the campus as a whole will be soon experiencing all sorts of difficulties. Understood. I'll take over the miscellaneous duties she's normally been taking care of. But even if that solves our problem, it's not like Sachin's gonna feel any better, right? Well, probably not. And she was just getting used to being your girlfriend. I thought she was looking a lot happier lately. But now all of a sudden she's brooding constantly, it's a little hard to watch. As Sachin's self-declared bestest friend, it's hella painful to see her like this. I see. Even more than their words, the expressions on their faces convey keen concern for Sachi. I can understand their feelings. Not that I'm planning to change course, but if this situation drags on too long, I'll have to consider trying to push things along. Hey Amane, the bathroom floor's kinda slimy and gross for some reason. You didn't squirt anything weird all over the place, did you? Hell no, you little punk! So why is it all slimy then? Probably because it hasn't been cleaned. Oh right, the contractor's on summer vacation this week, so the dorm didn't get its normal scrubbing. And the cleaning Sachi does for us was always just a charitable donation. So then, until Sachi gets back on her feet, I guess we gotta just put up with a nasty bath. Are you seriously not even considering the possibility of cleaning it yourself? Come on, it's such a pain, and the floor's slippery, and the floor's slippery. True that, every time she tries to clean that sucker, Chiru falls on her butt and gets lumps and bumps all over. At this point, it has to be a divine message. God's telling me, thou shalt not clean the bath. Hey, Chiru. You finally gone off the deep end? I haven't been swimming in ages. Michiru, I don't know what to say. Huh? What's with that look? Why does it feel like I'm getting pitied again? Alright, I'll take care of the grand bath. Yeah, I can help out with the cleaning as well. Naturally, I'd be tagging along too. Guess I'll help out if everyone else is, and I don't mind if Yuji wants to take over Sachi's jobs. But Sachi herself is the bigger problem here, okay? Do something! You're her boyfriend, remember? I know where you're coming from, but this self-reflection is a phase Sachi has to go through with right now, by yourself. Yeah, so you keep saying. Come on, don't you feel a little sorry for her? Wouldn't say I pity her, but I'm worried that I'm making her go through something harsh. Then how about you stop? Fine. If you're not going to do anything about this, I'll go ask Sachi myself. Listen to me, Michiru. As an angry scowl spreads across Michiru's face, I grab her by the shoulders and stare straight into her eyes. Yeah, if somebody goes up to Sachi and says, stop worrying so much, she'll return to normal. But she's in this school for a reason. If we pull back now because it's hard to watch her struggle, she's never going to get out. Try to understand. What the heck? Don't give me that reasonable argument with such a sad look on your face. Makes me feel like a cranky kid throwing a temper tantrum. Sorry, I do understand that you're all genuinely worried about her. Apparently the three of them understand my way of thinking. I wouldn't say they're entirely satisfied, but there are no further objections. The thing with Sachi's probably going to cause some problems for a while, but try to bear with it for now. Yeah, I got it. I'll keep my trap shut. Alright, I mean, there's no denying we've gotten a bit too dependent on Sachi in the first place. Maybe this is a good opportunity to get our act together. If it's really gonna help Sachi, I'll do my best. Right. Looks like we reached a tentative understanding. In that case, I'm gonna start by cleaning off the Grand Bath. I appreciate the offer, but let me handle it on my own this time. What? Jeez, there he goes. The heck is Yuji thinking? Cleaning that huge bathroom all alone is gonna be a huge pain. Wonder if he's feeling responsible in his own way. Responsible? I mean, he's the one who gave Sachi that problem or whatever. He probably doesn't want that to become a burden on the rest of us. Jeez, for someone who goes around trying to fix other people's problems, the guy's got a pretty difficult personality in his own right. And don't forget, Oni-chan's gotta be even more worried about Sachi than the rest of us. Yeah. So then, is there really nothing we can do to help Sachi? Other than just leaving her alone? Kinda hard to help when we don't even know what she's worrying about in the first place. So why don't we just ask her? Gotta be the easiest way to find out. Oh, good idea! Hold on a second, guys. I kinda feel like that would be breaking the rules. Maybe what we won't know till we try. Even if she goes, I can't tell a shameless skank like Amane-san. That's still a clue. Michiru! Sorry, my bad. Stop! Don't squeeze me. Oh, my tender brains. You're squeezing them out of my ears. I thought she was yanking on her twin tails for a second. Okay, well I want to help too, but I think we should get some advice before rushing into anything. Advice? From who? Who else? Professor Y, of course! Oh, Yumiko, right? Oh, right. And so after talking the matter over as a group, we decided to stick our collective nose into your business. My business? Ever since you came back from that date with Kazami-kun, you've been acting quite oddly. When he asked, he told us something of the circumstances. I gave Sachi a problem, to be precise. I wasn't aware you knew. Since it seems you're currently having difficulty with that problem, we were hoping you might be willing to talk it over with us. Talk it over? Since we came all this way, Kazami-kun's hardly likely to pass by and over here. We thought it might be easier to have a frank discussion among women. I suppose you're right, but... Did Yuji say you couldn't tell us or anything? No, we didn't mention any rule of that sort. Past the first stumbling block, then. A little too early to be celebrating. Even if her lips haven't been sealed, it's entirely up to Kamine-san whether she chooses to discuss the matter with us. Right. You think you can tell us? Well, Kamine-san, we're not trying to pressure you into sharing your troubles if you'd prefer to stay silent. But as our classmate and our friend, if you'd like to discuss the matter, please feel free. Certainly. I spent several days thinking over Yukon's questions without finding a satisfactory answer to any of them. At this rate, I might end up inconveniencing everyone indefinitely. By all means, I would deeply appreciate your assistance. Yes, of course. I believe that covers it. Did I say something odd, perhaps? I wouldn't say odd, but... Yuji's questions are sort of this weird mixture of incredibly obvious and totally incomprehensible. Yeah, exactly, I thought so too. What? Was there really an obvious question among them? Yes. Although it concerns your feelings, so we obviously can't be entirely sure. That's quite alright, please do share your thoughts with me. Let's start from the beginning. He basically gave you two different problems, right? First, why you were selfish on the date, and second, what Yuji wants you to realize. That sounds about right? That would be an accurate summary of Yukon's words. So I'm assuming we all agree here. The reason she was selfish is the easy one, right? Yep. Didn't even have to think about that one. You ended up acting a little bit spoiled on your date with Yuji. That's gotta be because you've fallen in love with him. Because I've fallen in love with Yukon? Sure, I mean, what were you thinking when that made those words pop out of your mouth? You were having lots of fun with Yuji and you want it to last longer, right? That's true. So you wouldn't have felt that strongly about it unless you were in love with him. So you really think I've fallen in love with him? Sachi, the heck are you saying this late in the game? I don't quite understand myself what exactly I feel towards him. Look, Sachi. Why do you think you want to wear those clothes he bought you? And you were quite anxious when he stopped halfway through as well. To go a little further back, you moved your seat next to him in the classroom, remember? If that's really proof that I love Yukon, then it would seem I've actually been in love with him for quite some time. So you really roll with all these dates and sexy times without even knowing that you loved him? Yes. Yukon said he wanted me as his girlfriend, and I didn't dislike the idea. Didn't dislike, she says. This is some grade A thick-headedness. I'm actually feeling a little sympathy for Yuji at this point. I'm with you there. I do apologize, it seems my lack of insight is inconvenienced everyone. Do you more or less understand what we're trying to say? Yes. I guess she understands. Long-standing romantic affection for Yukon. Full marks. That's problem number one dealt with, so... The real challenge is that crazy second question. Something Kazami-kun wants you to realize is an exceptionally vague excuse for a hint. To be perfectly honest, I don't even know where to begin on that part of the problem. In that case, I guess we'll just have to think it over slowly and carefully. Let's keep these little meetings going until somebody finds an answer. That's very kind of you, but would it really be alright to take so much of your time? Of course it would. Heck, we're the ones asking you to let us help, you know? Mitsu-sama. That's how it is, girl. When you need to talk, I want you coming to me first, okay? Maki-chan. Alright then, Kamene-san, I assume you don't have any objections to holding these meetings on a periodic basis from now on? You assume correctly. In fact, I would truly appreciate it. Thank you all. Damn, that took nearly 2 hours. When cleaning a large area alone, there's an inevitable cost in terms of both time and physical energy. And Sachi's been doing this practically every day. No matter how efficient she is, that's some serious effort she's putting in for our benefits. Oh, Principal, long time no see. Ah, Kazami-kun, just the man I wanted to see. Sorry, Princess, but you're a little young to be in here. This is a grown-up building. Oh, gee. Then I'll just have to come back when I'm bigger, I guess. Chizuru, Oh, come on, stop looking at me like I've grown a second head. I was just rolling with it, of course. A little payback for the constant teasing. Right, sure. Sorry. Normally the woman gets all in a huff over even my gentlest jokes, so I was honestly afraid she just lost that. Why do you have to be such a bully anyway? Don't know, but the women I sleep with seem to love it. Look, mister. So what are you doing all the way out here anyway? Something urgent come up? Yeah, something I wanted to tell you guys about before summer vacation ends. Seems like the others are all out at the moment, though. What, school's gonna start back up? Sorry for the sudden meeting, everybody. Chizuru stands before us with both arms folded behind her back. But I see her arms right in front of her. No, her arms are in front of her, they're not behind her back. Very picture of a composed principal addressing her students. You never guess he was role-playing as a schoolgirl all of 30 minutes ago. Oh, Physicist, hi. So Sachi is apparently going to quote-unquote get rid of another test, I guess? Yeah, so this chapter is called Get Rid of the Test, and I can still remember what happened the last time Sachi was asked to do that. What's this important message about? Let me guess, you're extending summer break until this crazy heat dies down, right? Well, first things first, like a few dates between Yuji and Sachi, and a lot of discussion on her character and how she's starting to finally actually open up her feelings, starting to do things on her own free will. In that case, you have my enthusiastic approval. This heat wave can last the rest of the year as far as I'm concerned. Just shut the school down. Even if they turn off the air conditioning? I do apologize, Principal Tachibana. Please continue. Nothing to do with extending summer vacation or closing the school. Yeah, as far back as the third Sachi Root livestream I did. Yeah, I think back in the third stream I saw the revelation that Sachi and Yuji were actually... And I'm guessing you of course knew too, right, this whole time? Yeah, basically. Well, a while ago actually I learned, like 2-3 months or so. And I assume Sachi probably wants to just get back to living a life like that, if anything. It's something that she actually wants to do, and not just because she's fulfilling some obligations. Alright, it'll be sad tidings. I don't think you were this manic before the break. Sorry. They seem to be suffering from an overdose of summer vacation. I'll make sure to discipline them later. Discipline? That sounds kind of off-green. By which you mean obscene, I think. As soon as the new term starts, we're going to be holding a standardized achievement test. Achievement? Test? This is a nationwide test being held in every academic institution as the centerpiece of an investigation into scholastic achievement levels. Regardless of your school year, you'll all be taking the same examination. An identical test? Then how are they setting the scope of the material we'll be evaluated on? To avoid creating an age advantage, the plan is to use questions based off of earlier material that everyone's already learned. I see, in that case, I suppose there's no particular problem. Just what I thought you'd say, Sakaki-san. As for you, Matsushima-san, if you studied properly on a regular basis, you wouldn't have to panic at times like these, you know? Of course, it's important to enjoy your vacation as well, but please do prepare for this so you won't be left regretting it later. Kamini-san, are you listening? Please rest assured, your recent visit to the lingerie shop by the station and subsequent purchase of an 18,000 yen set of game day underwear will remain quietly sealed inside my bosom for all eternity. And she literally just said it. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell anyone. She just fucking told everyone. Kamine-san, what on earth are you? You intending to make use of those sometime soon, Principal Tachibana? Yeah. What? Okay, anyway. Like I said, there's a test after the break, understood? Yes. Great! Beads of sweat rolling down her forehead, the principal frantically wraps up her announcement, then scampers out of the dorm. Not the most dignified retreat I've ever seen. But it's a standardized test after the break, huh? Guess Chizu-chan's right. We should probably study a bit. How do you think we ditched this thing? A cold, of course. It's the classic excuse for playing hooky, suitable for all occasions. Hey you two, stop plotting misdeeds in the shadows. I mean, if this was happening this year... Yeah, I think like the events of the game took place in 2011 or 2013 or something. Let's just say if this was happening this year, I don't know, try and just make everyone catch Corona. That would probably do it. Come on, it's a friggin' test, you know! My #2 most hated thing in the world. Waiting for me the instant summer vacation ends. What's number 1 on the hate list? Children, of course! Goodness, it seems someone has an unusually severe case of self-loathing. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing in particular. I understand that you hate tests, but the point of this thing is to investigate scholastic achievement levels. It's not going to influence your grades even if you do terribly, right? You don't understand a thing, do you, Yuji? What? For those who truly can't stand studying, just hearing the word test is enough to cause severe nausea. Sorry, why do you sound so proud about this? A pathological testophobe, is it? That's a new one. Oh good, now she's reached the moaning stage. Gotta say though, I kinda understand Kiryu's feelings. That's it! Sachi, get rid of the test! Make it go away! You can do that, right? What? The instant Michiru yelps out her desperate entreaty, time comes to a halt. For me and Sachi at least. The others simply glance in Michiru's direction with standard expressions of exasperation and pity. Normally I might have reacted the same way, but since I know about the events that brought Sachi to this school, those words hit hard enough to leave me stunned. What do you say, Sachi? A perfect maid like you can totally get rid of one stupid little test, yeah? Well, The frozen moment of shatters Michiru blunders on ahead. Sachi, clearly flustered, hesitates to answer. Michiru! I don't care how much you hate tests. Don't say stupid crap and give Sachi in trouble. Yeah, I know. It's not like I was serious or anything. I'm sure she wasn't. Right. Michiru's words lacked any real malicious intent. She'd backed herself into a corner with all that theatrical complaining. Jokingly asking Sachi for help was just her attempt at an exit strategy, but... It's alright, we're going to accept that request. Wait, what? Oh, because... he wants to see Sachi fail a request, right? I guess that's just more of trying to get Sachi back to normality, just make her do like all of these crazy requests, eventually give her one that she has to fail. Make her realize that she can't basically fulfill every single request under the sun. Okay, so... why is Yushi just not trying to stop this from happening? I mean, didn't he hear the story about the burnt school the last time she tried to get rid of a test? Well, she didn't try, she succeeded. What are you talking about? You're gonna let Mihama Academy burn to the ground now? We'll get rid of that test as requested. What? And probably likely the whole school. It's not like she can seriously get rid of a school test. She got rid of a school before and... well, she just does it again. It's in a totally different league from cleaning the bath or fetching an eraser or something, you know? I wouldn't be so pessimistic. Huh? Just so happens that you asked someone who's successfully gotten rid of a test before. Is that true? Yes, Yukon speaks the truth. I did receive the same order on a previous occasion. And you seriously got rid of the test? Yeah, she did. To borrow Michiru's phrase, she's been invincible maid for a very long time now. Sachin is freaking amazing. I mean, I do almost feel like she could pull it off somehow, but Sachin, just how on earth would you get rid of a test? It's going to be a secret until the day of the exam. Might as well just tell us now. Tell me something, Michiru. Which is the more enjoyable way to receive a present? When you know what's inside or when you don't? When you don't? I guess? Normally. Right, same deal here. Not bad, Yushi. You're a pretty competent showman. You're too kind. Sachi sits quietly on the sidelines as I push the discussion forcefully ahead, her eyes fixed on me. I assume you're alright with this, Sachi? Well, after all, turning her down would mean you're refusing to help someone. Guess that'll make you a bad girl. I don't want that. In other words, you'll accept the request? Yes, I have to. Be a good girl. Right. So he's usually seriously trying to get Mahama Academy just burnt to the ground or something? Is this part of his plan to make Sachi, I don't know, try and have a normal life? Is he planning to have the school burned down or something? Yada yada, never objecting, a wind-up doll marching along the path others set out for it. Sachin agreed. So you seriously intend to get rid of the standardized tests? Sachi wouldn't joke about this, and since I've assumed responsibility for her success, I won't allow her to fail. I guess Yushi's been pretty reliable himself lately, what with taking over Sachi's jobs. If only Chan's helping out too, maybe disappearing a test isn't entirely impossible. Feel free to slack off for the rest of your summer vacation. Alright, whatever. I've got no idea how you're gonna get rid of this test, but good luck with that, Sachi. Yes, please leave everything to me. Sachi, you have a second? I'm just wearing my standard maid uniform today. Is there something unusual about my appearance? Noticing that I'm running my eyes over her clothing, she requests an explanation in a slightly puzzled tone of voice. Not really. Your street clothes the other day left a strong impression, so I was just doing a little mental comparison. I do apologize. All my attention has been focused on solving your question, so I haven't spent much time considering my attire. I see. But if you'd like, I can of course get changed this very instant. No, that's alright. Not necessary. Is that so? Yeah. There's no meaning in her wearing those clothes unless she does it on her own initiative. Conversation grinds to a halt. For a moment, there's a vaguely awkward silence between us. Yukun, would you mind if I asked you something? I'd like to know why you accepted Michiru-sama's request on my behalf. Let's see, a little tricky to explain, actually. Mainly, I thought accepting that request would help you find the answer to the questions I gave you the other day. This will help me find the answers to your questions? Yeah, also I want to see how you react today when faced with the same request you accepted back then. And if you didn't refuse, how you try to carry it out. Oh, so maybe he's not expecting the school to burn up in flames, which definitely could happen, and wants to see if she's really changed for the better since that incident. I'm guessing maybe he's just trying to see if she's changed. And if carrying out this task will enable me to find the answers to your questions, I'll devote my utmost efforts to doing so. I don't know what Sachi thinks about the incident she caused at her previous school. I don't know whether she regrets it or hides behind rationalizations. But when Michiru asked her to get rid of the test, Sachi hesitated for a moment with uncertainty in her eyes. And after I pushed her into consenting, she asked me why. At the very least, something about the idea of repeating her actions made Sachi uncomfortable, even unsettled. That can only mean one thing, though. That she accepted. The laws that bind Sachi haven't loosened their grip on her. Oh, sorry, it's nothing. Is that so? Do you have a plan in mind for getting rid of this test? I've already carried out this request once, so I don't anticipate any problems in doing so again. Already succeeded once, huh? In that case, I guess I probably won't need to get involved. Indeed, I don't think you'll need to take any action, Yukun. Not at all. I'm your girlfriend, so please feel free to call for me whenever you like. With a smile and a demure little bow, Sachi calmly heads back to her room. Sachi may be confident now, but if she attempts to use the same method as before, she's almost certainly going to fail. That's not a problem in itself. Sachi has to fail if she's ever going to break out of this status quo. But failure alone would likely accomplish nothing more than leaving a new wound on her heart. Failure is necessary, but she can't allow herself to fail. The solution's obvious enough. She just needs to fail by succeeding. What do you mean? There's a fundamental contradiction hiding inside the laws Sachi's bound herself to. And if she needs help to realize its existence, I'll use any means necessary to provide the key. A little before midnight, there's a sudden knock on my door. Sakaki, right? It's not locked. How did you? When I said Sachi had gotten rid of a test before, you were the only one who looked startled. I didn't think my reaction was particularly conspicuous. You were an observant one. I'm a part-time cleaner, after all. Can't overlook even the smallest specks of dust. Dust, does it? Repeating my words with a knowing tinge of irony, Sakaki walks to the center of my room, letting the door close behind her. So why drop by a man's room at this hour? Decided it was time to throw away your virginity? I'm sad to say I have no intention whatsoever of giving that to you. Money troubles then? In that case, I have something I want to ask you, Kazami-kun. Noting a clear change in the tone of her voice, I decided wisely to stop teasing her. Are you aware of a certain rumor concerning a girl who set fire to her own school simply to ensure a test was cancelled? Interesting story. Sounds a bit far-fetched, though. He probably knows exactly what she's getting at here. Well, if you want to deny it, I won't press you any further on that point. Doesn't Yuji know exactly that happened? Like, it's not just a rumor, it was actually real? Well, as real as the Grisaia universe goes. But as a classmate to both you and Kamine-san, there's one question that I want answered clearly and honestly. Alright then. You may have accepted Matsushima-san's request, but I assume you don't intend to let Kamine-san do anything dangerous, correct? What if I say it's a possibility? Then I'll have to register my objections. With clear anger in her voice, Sakaki takes out her box cutter and pushes up the blade with a violent snap. I admire the spirit, but the odds of you actually touching me with that thing aren't even 1 in 100. Even so, I believe I'll keep trying as long as I'm conscious. Alright, I got the message, my bad. Do me a favor and put away the weapon. When I declare my surrender, Sakaki heaves a long, heavy sigh and slowly sheathes her makeshift knife. To be perfectly honest, the potential risk depends on how things play out. I can't say for sure whether she'll be in any danger. But no matter what means Sachi chooses to use in pursuit of her objective, I can promise you I'll protect her with everything I've got. That not good enough? You can't promise not to put her in danger in the first place? No, I can't. You're concerned about Sachi's safety to the point of menacing me with a box cutter. It'd rub me the wrong way to make you a promise I can't keep. And the truth is, drastic measures may prove necessary. I see. From what you're telling me, it seems Kamine-san's real problem is likely a psychological one. Sorry, but I can't be the one to tell you that. I suppose not. That was a thoughtless remark. Pay it no mind. Anyway, Sachi's not the only one who's going to be affected by this. Might end up inconveniencing you and the others as well. Inconveniencing us? I promise to contain any danger and keep you all safe, but if things do get ugly, I'd appreciate your help. You're asking me to offer my cooperation without even knowing what you intend to do? You're an impressively self-centered human being. I'm aware of that, but I'm still asking. Please, Sakaki. Very well. If worst comes to worst, I'll provide what assistance I can. Right, appreciate it. Do keep in mind, though, I'm doing that entirely for Kamine-san's sake. That's supposed to be your take on Michiru's tsundere thing? Absolutely not! Sakaki turns away with a scowl. I'm not sure if she's really too disgusted to look at my face or just trying to hide the light blush on her cheeks. In any case, gonna excuse myself. All this time I've been a little dubious about this whole thing, this place, this lifestyle, being a student. But as of right now, I think I'm all over that. I think I'm over all that. I'm glad I came to this school. And you're telling me this, why? Who knows, maybe I just wanted you to hear it. I see. Sakaki quietly leaves my room with an uncharacteristically gentle expression on her face. Although I hadn't expected it to happen this way, I've managed to gain something of an accomplice. Sakaki possesses both level-headed judgment and the ability to project authority. I don't think anyone's better suited to take care of the others when and if the time comes. But even with the cooperation of our classmates more or less assured, there's still plenty of problems I need to take care of. And if my estimate of the situation is correct, the drastic measures I mentioned are absolutely going to prove necessary. Which means I need to get moving. 10 minutes to go. It's a boiling summer day and I'm standing out in the sun, staring down at my watch as I wait for a visitor. To carry out my plan, I'm going to need cooperation from a number of concerned parties. But even among them, it's safe to say that the person I'm about to meet is the single most crucial piece of the puzzle. 5 minutes. 3 minutes. Exactly 180 seconds before the arranged time, I hear a high-pitched engine approaching. JB again? Just what you'd expect from a German, precisely on time. Well, here I am. JB steps out of her car, carelessly brushing up a loose lock of that shaggy blonde hair she's so proud of. Sorry for dragging you all the way out here. It certainly is rare for you to be the one calling for me. What's this about? Maybe you decided to call it quits on the whole student thing? Actually, it's the opposite. Wait. I want to stay at the school, keep up the whole normal student thing, and to make that possible, there's something I absolutely have to do. For some reason, I have a really bad feeling about this. That's JB for you. Can't count how many times that sharp nose for trouble has saved my ass. Somehow, this compliment leaves me less than overjoyed. Since you're not denying it, what do you absolutely have to do? I've got a favor to ask you. So that's the shape of it. Pretty simple, right? Too simple, huh? Must have been a bit of a letdown. The exact opposite, actually. Of all the insane, what on earth are you thinking? After carefully considering all the relevant factors, I concluded this would be the most effective approach. I really understand that you're trying to help Sachi, but is it really necessary to go this far? Depends on her, but in all probability, yes. I don't think anything less is going to get it done. Otherwise, I think Sachi would have found the answer to my problem by now. And if I'm going to make this happen, I need your help, Julia. Do you really think that's going to convince me to go along with this foolishness? Probably not. You've never been the sort to put aside the big picture for a smaller objective. Then I suppose we just have to. Please listen to me, Julia. I've had enough regrets for one lifetime. I'm sick and tired of being a powerless bystander. It's not like I want to go around rescuing random people like some sort of superhero. But when there's someone suffering in front of me, and when that someone is a person I care about, I want to do everything I can to help them. And you're saying that, Sachi? That's right. When I learned about her identity and her burden, I wanted to help her. That feeling was absolutely real, and it's only gotten stronger over time. And if I turn a blind eye to her problem now, I don't think I'm ever going to understand the meaning of the words Asako left me. So that's your answer, huh? Alright, I understand. You have whatever assistance I can offer. You sure about that? Given that uncharacteristic little speech, it seems clear that you're right to accept the consequences of your actions. And if Asako was here, she'd probably say when a man's desperate enough to beg, a woman needs the backbone to shut her mouth and nod her head. Sorry, I appreciate it. That said, even with Ichigaya or Akasaka's support, there's a limit to what I can pull off. Or cover up, for that matter. I'm aware, yes. Don't worry, I'm not planning to give Ichigaya any headaches. As long as you can get me the e-speech express information on the soup, I'll figure out the rest on my own. Figure out the rest? Wait, do you have training in that field as well? You haven't forgotten what sort of person my master was, have you? Ah, true enough. Asako trusted you more than anyone else, you know? And the same goes for me now. In fact, you're the only person in the world I call family. What I'm trying to say is I really am grateful, JB. Getting this from a guy who's usually such a sarcastic little ass really throws me off that game. My sincere apologies. Well, I guess I'll just chalk that one up as an attempt at giving your foster parent a little lip service. Right, so... Ah, one last thing. I want you to get me 4 tickets for a helicopter ride. A helicopter ride? What do you need those for? That part's a secret. Fine, I won't ask. Just get in touch when you have an exact date and time. And I'll be giving you a call myself once our preparations are complete. Yeah, go ahead and draw the funds you're going to need out of my account. That's alright with me. But you're already talking like this is a done deal. Sounds to me like you're going to need a certain someone's cooperation as well. So is she on board? No, but that negotiation's next on my to-do list. Are you for real? The plan sounded relatively fine-tuned at first, but you sure are taking a haphazard approach to some very fundamental problems. Very much like Asako's way of doing things, kind of think of it. Guess I'll just have to show you that isn't the only thing I picked up from my master. As a bright-eyed, idealistic educator, I'm sure she's here at this hour. After seeing off JB, I arrived at the principal's office in search of my second most essential accomplice. Pardon me, coming in. As usual, I barged in without knocking. I catch a brief glimpse of Chizuru making a face into a small mirror before she jumps up out of her seat with a girlish little shriek. You think I walked in on some innocent maiden changing clothes? Well, I'm still comfortably in the maiden age range. Probably. Not when visiting a woman's room, alright? Sorry about that. Take an awkward moment to visit. So what do you need? Yeah, I thought I'd take you out on a date today, Chizuru. Get your things. Huh? You've got a girlfriend, you know? Taking me on a date would be cheating on Kamine-san. I can't let you do that. The hell are you getting all flustered about? It's a joke, obviously. Well, what do you want then? Judging from the tone of her voice, it's probably best to stop screwing around now. I'll explain in detail, but basically I want your cooperation with a little plan of mine. A plan? That's right. So as I'm sure you can imagine, I could really use your help as a standing member of the board of directors, and as the prefectural governor's daughter. What's the matter? That time of the month? It really sneaks up on you, doesn't it? Not the problem here. I was just at a loss for words thanks to your completely insane nonsense. Oh, I was being perfectly serious though. Yes, knowing you, I didn't really think you meant it as a joke. Still, it doesn't make it any less crazy. Her heart's been frozen solid for a very long time now. Thawing it out is going to require some serious kinetic energy. And that achievement test I announced provided a suitable spark. It was a complete coincidence that made sure asked Sachi get rid of the test, but ultimately we have a chance to settle things in one shot thanks to your timely assistance. It's not like I announced the test with this in mind, you know? Yes, I know. If we do carry out Michiru's request, you're probably going to be the one inconvenienced most severely. That's right, it's impossible for me to even predict the full consequences of you two eliminating this test. So if you refuse to cooperate, Chizuru, I have no choice but to scrap this plan. That's an unfair way of putting it. You know full well I just can't refuse. How about this? I'll make you a promise in exchange. Sachi's going to be herself again. I'm going to make that happen. Can I really take you at your word on that? Yeah. Very well then, Kazami-kun, you have my cooperation. Thanks, I'm sorry to drag you into this. Sure, I may be the principal, but that doesn't mean the school belongs to me. You do understand that, yes? Even so, I know you'll find a way to do what needs to be done. So you say, but I expect you've cajoled Haradera-san into this as well. Oh, how'd you know I brought JB in already? Simple enough, if I were in your shoes, she's the first one I'd ask for help. I see. Persuasive reasoning. But I must say, it really is rather humiliating to dance so obediently on your strings. So much for my dignity as the older woman. Not to worry, it's not like you had much to lose in the first place, what with that baby face of yours. Kazami-kun? Don't get all huffy, there are plenty of ladies out there who'd kill to be mocked for their youthful appearance. I swear. Who on earth taught you to talk like that anyway? Interesting question, guess that had to be my master. Your master? Asako, yes? Right. Kusakabe Asako, the woman I called master. She adopted me. A child breathing but in no other sense living, and patiently raised me into someone capable of working for Grisaia. You could say I'm only standing here today thanks to her. That's something I won't ever be able to forget, even if I was inclined to try. I never met her myself, but I've heard a little from Haradera-san. Specifically that she was an amazing person. That's a pretty decent summary. Even after all this time, with everything she taught me a hell of a lot in independent study, I'm still 10 sizes too small to fill her shoes. I see. Kusakabe Asako was without a doubt the most extraordinary person I've ever known, but ironically enough, she was also the woman who helped me find something like normality. First of all, you need me to get the manga ready, yes? Kind of surprised how you know a slang term like that. I have a friend in software development who used it once. Kind of stuck in my head. Once I have those, I'll get to work constructing a more specific plan. I think I can have that ready by tomorrow, so stop by around the same time to pick it up. Also, I need a relatively sizable room without too much clutter. In that case, you can have the tool room overlooking the athletic grounds. It's almost entirely empty at the moment. Appreciate it. Sorry about all this. I seem you're aware, but when you're repaying a woman's present, a threefold return is standard. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. What's Sachi doing right now? When I arrive at the third floor of the dorm in search of Sachi, I find her crouched over a sizable pile of books, flipping pages with an expression of intense focus. It seems she's using the spare minutes waiting for the laundry to review a stack of reference materials. Not entirely out of character, to be sure. But this is a dramatic change from the dreamy thoughtfulness that followed our return from the beach. Instead of losing herself in distracted reverie, she's immersed in practical research. And just as I'd expected, the composure has already vanished from her face. Proof that she's realized her previous method won't work for this request. The circumstances are very different. On the most fundamental level, the school buildings in question differ radically in scale and construction. After even a cursory comparison of those differences, it's simple enough to realize that the same trick is unlikely to work again. At this point, it comes down to whether or not she can find an entirely different approach, but right now, Sachi can't even sense my presence at her side. The law she's imposed on herself, the absolute need to be a good girl, has forced her into a state of such obsessive concentration that nothing else even registers. Of course, I expected something of the sort, but it's the first time I've seen Sachi this intensely serious. Her self-assured air of easy confidence has vanished without a trace. The quest she's currently grappling with presents an exceptionally thorny problem, after all. On some level, Sachi seems to realize that she's fast approaching a moment of truth. In that case, the best thing I can do for the girl right now is allow her to simmer in her own desperation. Well then, please excuse me. Yeah. Even as she broods over getting rid of the test, Sachi is consistently maintaining their routine of cleaning my room and doing my laundry. I guess I should be happy as a boyfriend that she places such a high priority on taking care of me. But no matter how used she is to these sort of chores, it's obvious that keeping up the daily grind is going to be hard on her under the circumstances. I can't allow myself to step in to help right now. It's a mixed feeling. And then my cell phone rings. Is that you, JB? Morning, Yuji. How's Sachi? Seems she hasn't figured out an effective plan yet. Currently absorbed in brainstorming. I see. So what can I do for you? Found something extremely interesting about the East Beach Express group. It'll take a little time before I have positive proof, but yes, I believe we can. Good to hear. I'll send you the details by email later, so make sure to take a look. Roger. I should be done with your other requests soon as well. Incidentally, I also went ahead and got the stuff you'll need to grow the vegetables for that soup of yours. I was planning to take care of that myself, you know. I didn't want to push everything off on you. Wasn't more than a few extra clicks on the mouse, really. Alright, whatever you say, thanks. Sure, the goods in question should be delivered before long, so make sure you're there to accept them. Right. And within an hour of that phone call, a truck bearing JB's gift makes its way through the school gates. Hello, heyo. I'm here from Fujimi Shipping. You this Kazami-san then? Yeah, I'm Kazami. You got a pretty dang big delivery here. Got a warehouse or something? I can lug it out there if you want. That's fine, just unload everything here and I'll take care of the rest. Later, bro. When all the goods are finally out of the truck, the delivery man leaves with a cheerful frat boy style farewell. Guess I better get these inside before the others notice. I was wondering what the heck a truck was doing in here. Figures that you'd be the culprit, Oni-chan. The game's up, we're coming right now, so don't even think about moving from that spot. Ah, too late. Might have been inevitable given how rare it is to see a vehicle of any kind actually inside our campus. But it's not like I got anything I can't let them see, so I guess it shouldn't really be a problem. A full-size delivery truck? Here? Just what the heck did you... Gah, it stinks! Don't even think about leaving me out if you're planning something fun. Gah, it stinks! What's this supposed to be then? Word of advice, Sakaki. Pinching your nose disdainfully while you speak isn't exactly going to help you win friends and influence people. Pardon me, but your delivery happens to be giving off an astounding stench if you hadn't noticed. Of course it is. That's sort of how this stuff is. This is agricultural fertilizer, right? Like manure? Manure? Seriously? You gonna eat it? No, I am not. But why on earth? Our thoughtful principal knows that Sachi's been looking busy lately, decided to compensate by roping me into a temporary position as a volunteer gardener. Figured I'd start off with the fundamentals and enrich the soil a bit. Sure, but did you really need this much? First part of the job is laying down some flower beds along the whole outer periphery of the athletic grounds. Somewhere down the line, I'm looking to spread the flower-filled exercise concept throughout Mission McCabe as a whole. Playing with dirt's good stuff, you know. Gardening's a pretty solid workout, and it's got a well-documented, relaxing effect as well. Amane's not entirely buying this, is she? Sharp girl. Alright then, you'll let me know if you needed help with that. I can drive a tractor too, you know. What? Did I say something weird? Not really, but motorcycles, trucks, and now tractors? Is there anything you can't drive? True, I'm pretty versatile. Might not have every license out there, but if it's got wheels, I can probably handle it just fine. I see. Sorry, but I'm not going to be feeling anything with flowers anytime soon. The hardiest cactus withers at my touch. I'm a cheerer on this one. I like my plants best after they've been picked and cooked, you know? In that case, I guess you'd head back to our rooms instead of getting in Yuji's way. Just remembered, actually, but I got some ice cream I bought at the supermarket earlier. Let's all go have some, okay? Since you invited me, I see we got ample supplies of green tea flavor, yes? And mandarin orange? Yes, both are on tap, so let's be good little girls and head on inside now. And then just take them back into the dorm. Do you have a moment? What's up? Don't you want to get some of that ice cream? If you answer my questions concisely and honestly, I expect there'll still be left over some after we're finished. What do you want to know? Truth is, we asked Komine-san about the problems you asked her to solve. You seem less surprised than I had expected. I know how much you people love sticking your nose into others' business. I was more or less expecting something of the sort. Good, that makes this simpler. And I'm correct to think you hope that successfully getting rid of the test will enable to answer your questions? I wouldn't have gone out of my way to reopen old wounds if I thought otherwise. In that case, I suppose our regular meetings are no longer necessary. Regular meetings? My apologies. Just talking to myself. I guess this is petty secrecy as their way of getting payback for the other day. Well then, have fun playing with your dirt. In any case, it's nice that they're being relatively cooperative. In the pitch-black hallway, the only sound is the echoing of my own footsteps. After waiting until my classmates were soundly asleep, I slipped out of my way out of the dorm to infiltrate the abandoned school building. With a recent construction like this, it's definitely going to take some time to get things ready. To be honest, without Chizuru's cooperation, I doubt I would have gotten anywhere, and even now it won't be easy. That said, failure simply isn't an option. After pushing Sachi that hard, I damn well better give my part everything I've got. Getting close to 4 in the morning. Another hour and we're getting dangerously close to Sachi or Mane waking up. Just to be on the safe side, I guess I'll call it a night. That room. From the school hallway, I notice a single light still on in the dormitory, and when I quietly look inside a few minutes later, I find Sachi crouched intently over her desk. She must have been all night working. Her normally neat desk is cluttered with books, magazines, paper. Everything from documents concerning modern architectural techniques to yellow old newspaper clippings. Probably because she confidently declared I should leave everything to her. Sachi's consciously trying not to show any sign of struggling, but in reality she's practically at her wit's end. Precisely because of her own thoroughness and intelligence, the faults in every new plan must present themselves with frustrating speed. There are just no easy answers to this challenge. With a silent shout of encouragement, I ease the door shut and quietly leave Sachi's room behind. There's a ghost in this school. A pleasant morning, the first relatively cool day after what felt like weeks of brutal heatwave headlines in the newspapers. After gathering us in the dorm lobby, Michiru delivers this abrupt announcement. I was wondering what sort of big news might warrant this emergency meeting of yours. But I see it's just more of the usual inane drivel. You talk a good game, little lady, but your legs seem to be trembling something fierce. Look, Michiru, yeah, summer vacation's nearly over, so I understand why an entertainer like yourself will want to fire things up for these last fleeting moments. But isn't it a little late for cooling down with chilling stories? You've got it all wrong, and don't call me an entertainer. There really, totally is a ghost. What, you actually saw it? Indeed, with these very eyes. Oh, this sounds like quite the intriguing tale. Alright then, how did you happen to meet this ghost of yours, Michiru? Our story begins on a blazing day in the middle of that long heat wave. The temperature high enough to give a cicada heat stroke. That day I had fallen asleep with my AC cranked down to 65 degrees. And late that night, I wandered out into the courtyard to warm my chilled body. You seem to be operating under a rather fundamental misconception. Air conditioning is supposed to protect you from the heat, not drive you out into it. Within a few minutes of wandering around the muggy night, I was longing for the cold again, so I began to head back toward my room. But as I was passing by the school building just outside the principal's office, out of nowhere, I hear a distant vroom vroom! The sound of a chainsaw running! Of course, at first I thought my ears were playing tricks on me. But as I paused in confusion, I heard the sound again. And again, not so far away. Eventually the vroom vrooming came to a sudden stop, and then, as I peered through a nearby window into the pitch black, deserted hallway, a dark shadow suddenly slipped by. It really happened, I swear. The ghost Michiru encounter was definitely me, but our superstitious explanation of those events is pretty convenient. The heck? I thought you said you saw a ghost, not a lousy shadow. You were probably just seeing things, you know. Must have woke up in the middle of rapid eye movement sleep or something. Your brain was still off in La La Land. You got no romance in your heart, do you? Nope, guess not. Unlike Chiro, I'm actually living in reality. What's that supposed to mean? I see, so that's how it is. Pretty low-key reaction, Sakaki-san. I thought scary stories were your weak point. Anyway, I'm fairly sure that particular ghost is harmless. How do you know? Let's see, I suppose you could say it's something of an acquaintance of mine. Yumiko. I kinda thought you didn't have many friends, but you've been palling around with the undead behind our backs? I can totally buy Yumi-chan as a popular kid in ghoul school! Seems as though I've invited some rather irritating misunderstandings. In any case, rest assured, you have nothing to fear from that spirit. Alright, Kazami-kun? Why ask Yuji? Because she's figured out its real identity. I'm familiar with that spirit as well. From what the principal tells me, it's one of those friendly ghosts. Seems it won't cause us trouble unless we go out of our way to provoke it. If you both say so, I guess it must be true. I'll be able to sleep soundly tonight after all. Now you don't need Sachi to escort you to the potty at night! I don't call her for stuff like that! For one thing, my room's got a bathroom. Speaking of Sachi though, she's really been spending a lot of time holed up in her room lately. Yeah. I want to tell her about the ghost too, but Yuji said to leave her alone for the time being, so... She's still planning how to get rid of that test for you, need some time to think. I understand that. Yes, but are you sure she's okay? I've asked Sachi for all sorts of stuff, but I've never seen her this desperate before. Trying to think of it, you're right. What happened to Sachin's service with a smile? This request is just that difficult, I suppose. I tried brainstorming a little myself, but nothing realistic came to mind. Before Gaze settled on me, silently requesting a comment from the person who volunteered to undertake Michiru's request. It's fine, yeah. Sachi's definitely got some tunnel vision right now. And that's just because she's seriously concentrating on this request. Because now she's completely oblivious to the world around her. So we don't even have to be worried? That's right, she isn't missing any meals, and she still stops by my room every day. I guess I'll have to take the boyfriend's word for it, since you spend the most time with her, but I still can't help but feel worried. Yeah. Not surprising as the summer vacation approaches, well, as the end of it approaches, Sachi's been spending more and more time shut up in her room. Fortunately, the girl does seem to regard maintaining our physical health as one of her responsibilities. I'm pretty sure she's getting at least the minimum necessary nutrition and rest, but... Alright, since you're all so concerned, I'll go check up on her in a little while. I want an immediate report if something's up with Sachi, you hear? Right, got it. Well then. Lately, Sachi hasn't been responding to knocks or even shouts from outside. It's becoming a matter of course to barge into a room first and say hello second. I'm coming in. When I enter the room, I'm struck with a powerful sense of deja vu. It's like I'm watching a recording of yesterday or the day before that. Even from behind, I can tell Sachi's glaring down at her desk with intense focus. Thick reference books and piles of paper lie in messy heaps across its surface. Seems like she's also been doing a little research on the computers in the school building itself for the last few days. Though, the vast majority of her time has been spent working alone in a room. Oblivious to my approach, Sachi silently continues to move across the pages. Sachi? No reaction. Not that it'd been particularly hopeful. Hey, Sachi. Oh, Yukun. I finally succeed in catching Sachi's attention by shaking her shoulder as I speak. Letting her book fall close, she calmly turns her chair to face me. All this is a standard part of the new normal, but today I seem to have caught Sachi somewhat off her guard. For a moment I can see the deep exhaustion in her face. Is there something on my face? Can't say as there is, but Mitra and the others are worried, so I promise to check up on you. They are. So I'm causing everyone concern once again. Well, your top priority at the moment is fulfilling Mitra's request. I guess you don't have much choice but to slightly neglect the rest for the time being. That's true. One has to keep one's promises. Only bad girls tell lies. Only bad girls tell lies. If Sachi truly believes that, there's a question I need to ask her at this point. Mind if I ask you something? You told me I could leave this job to you. Is that still true? Yes, I'll be fine on my own. I avoided asking outright whether she's found a method to get rid of the test, hoping to lead her gently toward revealing the truth. But Sachi answers my question without a moment's hesitation. That a fact? Yes, I assure you. I will carry it out before the day of the test arrives. I've seen eyes like those before. There's none of Sachi's familiar spark of confidence, none of her composed determination. These are the eyes of a human being driven into a corner. Knowing that all roads lie closed to them, still unable to accept their approaching ruin, blindly clinging to an impossible vision of the future. Sachi's eyes are clouded with a narcotic haze of denial. Well, this removes all doubt. Nothing, just talking to myself. Is that so? A slightly disconcerted expression flashes across Sachi's face, but soon enough she's regained control of her features. In that case, I'll leave it in your hands, but if something comes up, say the word and I'll help anytime. Thank you. I ruffle her hair from him, then leave the room. If Sachi had admitted her dilemma and turned to me for help, events probably would have taken a complete 180 from their current course. And in doing so, I think the answer to my problem would soon have been revealed to her. But instead, Sachi brushed my offer aside and hid her struggle from me. Even to the point of lying, violating her own absolute standards for goodness. Unfortunately, it seems like my preparations won't have been in vain. When someone asks you for a simple summer, plenty of things come to mind. Cicadas, watermelon, the beach, fireworks, shaved ice. Anyone can make a pretty decent list out of just the obvious standards. We've all experienced every one of these at some point, but for students in particular, one of the more memorable aspects of the summer experience arrives only at its very end. Why? Why today of all days? The weather's so beautiful that God might as well be shouting, go forth and enjoy your final day of summer vacation. Why? Oh, why? Do I have to sit around doing homework? Mitsuru, because that would be slacked off until the last possible minute. Come on. I didn't have Sachi to help this time. She always used to do the problems I couldn't figure out. Unbelievable. You're having Kumine-san help with your homework? She's a year below you, isn't she? It's not like I asked, Sachi just offered. So, you know, I sorta ended up letting her spoil you rotten without even realizing what's happening. Yeah. You're hopeless, Chiru. If you end up marrying someone who's got their act together, you're totally gonna turn into a worthless blob in no time flat. Worthless blob? Allow me to elaborate. Too lazy to swim, too lethargic to dairy? Shaking your sloppy mass of dirty blonde hair with every step. A big old flavorless plate of human jello. Stop it. Stop realistically forecasting my future. Michiru's got it tough in her own right. Do you have a moment? As I watch Michiru thrash about, her beloved twin tail swinging from side to side with all the kinetic energy of a traditional Chinese lion dance, Sakaki settles up and requests my attention. What? You haven't finished your homework either, Sakaki? Follow me, please. Not dignifying my attempted humor with a response, Sakaki pivots on her heel and begins to walk. I follow obediently. You should be fine. So, why bring me all the way up here? Planning to confess to your love or something? You seem rather composed, but is there really any chance of success? Oh, so that's what this is about. Yes, you too accept the request to get rid of the test scheduled to be held immediately after summer vacation. At this point, there's practically no time left, and class starts tomorrow, which will only make it more difficult to act. Absolutely right on all counts, Sakaki. Do tell me, then how on earth is Komine-san supposed to carry out her mission under the circumstances? You'll find out soon enough. Just how long do you plan to keep feeding me this evasive nonsense? Such a cynic. I'm not being evasive this time. What's that supposed to mean? It means Sachi's gonna make her move today. On that note, I need your help with something, Sakaki. First of all, take these. I reach into my breast pocket, retrieve the tickets I prepared beforehand, and hold them out for Sakaki to accept. What are these? A complimentary helicopter ride ticket. 4 of them to be exact. See Mishima Cape's beautiful night scenery spread out below you and all that. I see, is this your way of asking for a slap to the face? No, I'm perfectly serious. Kindly explain how these tickets have the first thing to do with stopping the test. We already talked about the possibility of danger, remember? These tickets have a great deal to do with that. In other words, this is your attempt at getting the rest of us out of harm's way if there's any harm? Yeah, it's a win-win. You won't face any unfounded suspicion, and it'll be easier for us to act. Makes sense, I suppose. Do you really think I'm going to go along with this without a proper explanation? Pretty much, yeah. You did promise to help out, and I trust you, Sakaki. As always, you don't play remotely fair. Mumbling in a sulky tone of voice, Sakaki quietly slides the tickets into her pocket. Thanks, I owe you one. What exactly do you want me to do with these? Go enjoy the view, just make sure you get the others to come along. So I assume that would be like, well, there's 1 ticket for Yumiko, there's gotta be, yeah, so 1 for Yumiko, a 2nd for Makina, another for Amane, and then the 4th for Michiru. And I'm guessing Yuji and Sachi are going to execute their plan to get rid of the test, while these 4 are just up on helicopter. Nowhere near, well, there's probably going to be no school, literally no school the day after. And apparently burning it to the ground's not going to work, so... Okay, maybe we are going to get, like, an HGK impression here, where the school gets blown up. When everything's over, I expect a very long and very detailed explanation for all this. Before you go, I want to apologize. Huh? Sorry, Sakaki. What's gotten into you now? Are you feeling guilty about hiding the full truth from me, perhaps? You'll understand that soon enough as well. My wisecrack goes over like a lead balloon. In the end, Sakaki stalks off down the stairs in an even worse mood than before. Sorry for the hassle. They're home, a lot of bags, shopping expedition. Yeah, but it was a little weird out there today. How so? Amani was wandering around the shopping district with me, bouncing her boobies around like always. But everyone kept saying stuff like, must be rough, you two, and giving us tons of freebies. We had no idea what they were talking about, you know? Felt like a little awkward getting showered with all this stuff without even knowing why. I see. How about you, Yuji? Any idea what that might be about? Nothing comes to mind. Maybe they decide to show some appreciation for your constant patronage? I hope you're right, but... Not entirely convinced, Amane wanders slowly up the stairs to the second floor with her head tilted slightly in puzzlement. Hey, Oni-chan, you seen Sachi today? Kinda think of it, no. She hasn't been around. If you ain't seen her, then maybe she's off shopping or something. Not a possibility, yeah. Alrighty then, if you haven't run to Sachi, let her know I was looking for her, okay? Got that. I'll pass it on. Thanks, yeah. Okay, I'm off to help Amani. By snatching half-cooked food off the plate when her back's turned? How rude! I only snatch in moderation. Pretty indignant considering she's not even dying yet. Not bothering to offer a verbal retort, I watch Makana trot energetically up the stairs toward Amane's room. Assuming she's going to act today, Sachi might already have begun to make her preparations. Sakaki successfully coaxed the others out. The dorm lies silent and deserted. Alone on the roof, I gaze blankly at the sinking sun. I'm sure the others had questions about this sudden event, and why Sachi and I weren't coming along, but none of them got to me. Guess Sakaki was thoughtful enough to take care of that. Not long till nightfall. I'm not particularly fond of the night. To be honest, you could say that I actively dislike it. Night is a deep and hostile blackness that follows us all. Darkness so absolute that it feels like a premonition of death. It makes us remember things we'd rather forget, images we try to erase from our memories. It shows us with gut-wrenching clarity just how weak and powerless we really are. Of course, I'm aware that the same doesn't apply for everyone, but ever since that day, this is what the night has been for me. Even at a time like this, let down my guard for a minute and I start shaking like an idiot. And tonight, there's more to it than old traumas. The vague anxiety I felt ever since I decided to bring Sachi normality is weighing heavily on my shoulders. I felt the same way and I forced her to accept this request. It's something like guilt. I drove Sachi's back to the wall for my own selfish reasons. Got practically everyone I know mixed up in this as well. And after all that, even if I succeed, will it really make her any happier? You're gambling with someone's life here. You really alright with that? When I close my eyes, the other side of me whispers its doubts. Look at that, I'm trembling. Still scared of the dark at my age. Almost like a curse, isn't it? The students gathered in this academy all have their quirks, and I'm no exception. Right now I'm just a piece of defense equipment, kept alive by my country for its own purposes. I'm not gifted with perfect insight and judgment. I've never been a genius like my sister was. Far from it. Am I really qualified to be messing around with her life? When I voice my worries, I feel sweat gathering unpleasantly in the palms of my hands. Still, if I let myself flinch this late in the game, my mask would probably come back to life just to kick my ass in the next week. That's right. No point in hesitating now, I've already made my decision. I'll do everything I can and I'll believe in Sachi. Unlock a single window in the afternoon. Use it to infiltrate the school building after dark. Once access is secured, quickly take the item from its hiding place and bring it inside. Mentally reviewing the plan I've polished over these last few days, I follow the procedure with exacting care, one deliberate step at a time. From what the principal told us, the achievement test will be held the day after tomorrow. However, considering the opening ceremony tomorrow and the unpredictable obstacles it will present, today is my last real chance to carry out this task. But even after all my meticulous research and thorough brainstorming, I was unable to find a plausible alternative to my previous method. It'll be alright. Everything worked out just fine last time. There's no inherent problem with this method. So long as I follow the plan to the letter and don't make any careless mistakes, everything will work out this time as well. It's alright. It's going to be alright. I repeat the words again and again, trying to convince myself they're true. Trying to distract myself from the hazy, dark discomfort smoldering somewhere deep inside my chest. That's a bad feeling, it must be. It's not something a good girl needs. So I gotta stop thinking so much. Regaining my calm with an effort of will, I begin to spread a certain something along the darkened hallway. The instant the liquid in the thick plastic can touches the outside air, a unique smell fills my nose. I knew this stench leaves in the child, when I used to pour new fuel into the kerosene heaters that warmed our home. I never did come to like it. As these distracted thoughts run through my head, I empty the can and drop it right to the floor and let the oil soak into it. Now I need to only light the fire. When I whisper those words to myself, I feel a voice whispering back, somewhere deep inside my mind. My hands come to a sudden stop. And as my thoughts turn to the nature of that voice, I violently shake my head back and forth, pushing it all away. I don't need to listen. Not now. I crash to the ground, determined, resigned, vaguely feeling some small part of myself give up. And I reach out to the slick rag, a lighter clenched firmly in my hand. The small seed of flame I planted at the corner of the cotton cloth blossoms quickly. Spreading along the line of fuel, it transforms before my eyes into a full-scale fire. Oh, so she's gonna go through with the burning thing. Scorching heat batters my skin. It's not an unfamiliar sensation. I'm seized with a strange feeling, almost like nostalgia. But none of that matters any longer. But since this time I deactivated the fire alarms and sprinkler system beforehand, all I need to do is repeat this procedure a few times throughout the building. With this, I've succeeded in carrying out Michiru-sama's request. Which means I'll also find the answer to Yukun's question soon enough. For a moment, relief blooms in my chest and then the next. What? With the sound of a dozen showers switched on at once, the sprinklers installed in the ceiling spring to life. Before I can even understand the situation, an almost disproportionate torrent of cold water rains down, soaking every inch of the hallway. The flames were growing so vigorously only seconds before, shrink with astonishing swiftness. This can't be happening. Didn't I? I'm sure I did. Why? Just last night, I entered the pump room and turned off every last one of the disaster prevention systems installed in this building. Even testing that the sprinklers would no longer activate. But all of a sudden, they're completely functional. It's simply incomprehensible. Fire's gone out. That one thought filling my mind, I run over to the rag, shelter it with my body, and desperately flick the switch on my lighter. Please, catch fire. Please! But the cloth's already soaked thoroughly with water. It refused to accept the flame. A waterlogged piece of cotton isn't going to catch fire. I understand that rationally, but I still push the switch frantically, half crazed with desperation and terror. This can't be. Why? So you chose this method after all? Huh? When I turn the corner into the thoroughly drenched hallway, I find Sachi crouched low on the floor, her eyes wide with shock. Interestingly, she came in full school uniform, not the maid outfit she finds it easiest to work in. I guess she was trying to show some respect for the place in her way. Is this Yukun? Did you? Yeah, turn the sprinklers on this afternoon. If that's what you were wondering about. That's what I was about to guess, that he turned them on because his plan was to make Sachi fail, but there's still supposed to be no school by tomorrow. Like, literally speaking, no school, right? It'd be a pain in the ass if those alarms went off, so I did leave those deactivated. This can't be happening. Carefully shutting down the preventative systems beforehand to enable setting a large-scale fire. This is the sort of plan I expect from you, Sachi. Why did you do this, Yukun? Why are you here? How did you... It's actually pretty simple to predict the way a competent, careful person will approach something like this. If I was going to try to set fire to this building, I'd have done the exact same thing. Taking out the sprinklers was a necessity, and today was the only way to do it. You knew I was planning to? Yeah, I expected you to use this method from the start. And I turned the sprinklers back on because there's something I want to tell you. Most likely she hadn't even begun to consider the possibility that someone would step in and interfere. The situation you're dealing with here is completely different from the last one. The size and construction of this building is nothing like that little wooden schoolhouse. Plus, it's equipped with state-of-the-art firefighting systems. Disabling those beforehand was a good start, but sprinkling kerosene around you like you did last time will require a lot more fuel to be really effective. And you need a lot more time to spread it. Considering you had to do the job alone before anyone noticed, your chances of successes were virtually nil. It's entirely likely to cause some damage here and there, but that's not going to be a huge problem. The test will just be moved to an intact classroom. This place was designed for people like us, remember? You're not going to shut it down that easily. As I lay out the truth of the situation, Sachi stares up at me with disbelief and terror into her eyes. Then, I'm going to... Yeah, at this rate, you're going to fail. This can't... The color instantly drains from Sachi's face. She slumps directly to the soaking wet floor like a puppet cut from its strings. Why so surprised? I'm pretty sure you knew this wouldn't work all along. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been searching that intently for another way. No need for all that research if your previous method was good enough. But no matter how you look, no matter how hard you thought it over, no other solution presented itself. Unable to find a generally viable strategy, you had no choice but to turn to your previous method. Since there was no other way, even though the prospects looked dim, you could at least cling to the thought that it worked before, am I wrong? That's not true. It worked fine last time, so it's gonna work fine this time as well. Everything's gonna be alright. Because even if there's no other way, I simply have to succeed. I can't even think about failing. I can't fail. It's not allowed. I have to be a good girl. I have to, no matter what it takes. I have to carry out this request. I'd never seen this expression on her face before. Never heard her voice so thick with emotion. The sound echoes fiercely down the dark hallway. No one responds. Her anguish and desperation hang in the air for a moment, then fade to the indifferent silence as if to symbolize her long, lonely, futile struggle. Tell me something. Sachi, why are you so determined to do everything asked of you? Why are you so persistent with this good girl thing? Getting rid of a test is a completely unreasonable demand to make of a normal human being. The others said as much, didn't they? Even if you give up now, they'll probably just say, yeah, I figured as much. No one's gonna hold it against you. You don't know that. You can't know that. What? No matter how intimate you may be with someone, you can never truly know their feelings. Not even if they're your own family. That's why I can't allow myself to fail. Not even once. I don't want to lose anything. So I have to be a good girl now. I have to study harder than anyone else. I have to do what I'm told without fail. I have to become a person that anyone would love. Otherwise, everyone will just go away. It's true, I was a bad little girl, and all the people I loved left me behind. My mom and dad were always so kind and affectionate to me. They got sick of my selfishness, and now they're gone. It was no different with you, Yukon. I'd rather die than have the things I love taken away from me again. I don't want to feel that sort of pain, ever again. I don't want to lose anything else. I can't fail. No matter what! If I fail now, everyone will leave me again. Yukon. Who told me to be his girlfriend? Michiru-sama, Aki-chan, Amane-san, Sakaki-san, and Principal Tachibana! Everyone! Everyone I care about will leave me! Sachi's feelings flow out of her in a torrent of words, her voice rising to a shout. Every sentence is filled with such bitterness that it's difficult even to listen. The pain of losing those who are precious to her, the sadness, the impotent anger all jumbled together in an anguished wail. To me, it sounds like the voice of a child crying out for help. So then, if you become a good girl, if you succeed in this request, will you be yourself again? Huh? Well, acting like a good girl should keep the things you love safe. What do you think, Sachi? Sachi's bared her heart to me. In return, I offer not kindness or comforting words, but a steady gaze. Yes, of course. I see. In that case, I'll grant your wish. What? I'm going to help you become the person you want to be. I'll make sure you complete this task. But why? I made a promise, didn't I? I want to help you be yourself. Even so, you just said it would be virtually impossible to succeed. It means there's a non-zero chance. And if you're trying to not do everything alone, things change pretty dramatically. As long as you're willing to do whatever it takes, there are plenty of ways to get this done. Is that really true? Of course. Yukon, are you saying you have a plan? I have a slightly different way of doing things, but it should be fine. The preliminary arrangements are already in place. When did you? I assume joint responsibility for our success on this job. And when 9029 participates in a mission, failure isn't an option. Of course, this isn't an Ichigaya job, and I'm not going on a cleaning expedition. Even so, I'm still my master's pupil. Asako didn't just develop my technique and cram me full of technical knowledge. She taught me a whole way of thinking. No matter what the job entails, I'll face it with the resolve and focus I bring to the most dangerous missions. 9029? It's just a number that comes with a bit of a reputation. No matter how ugly things look, 9029 pulls through. Sachi gazes up at me as though I've descended on a cloud from heaven. Having proposed this strategy, I naturally know full well how things are going to play out. When I think about what's coming, it takes a real effort not to turn away from that gaze. You could? No, it's nothing. Shaking my head lightly to drive away that lingering touch of guilt, I settle my face into a serious expression. But since it's your perfect record at stake here, I think you should be the one to actually carry this plan out. If there's any part of all I can play, please allow me. In that case, there's something I want you to do for me. We're in the principal's office, aren't we? Yeah, this was my base camp during the initial preparations. Although Chizuru might be irritated to hear me say it, I needed a room no one was likely to drop by and visit. In other words, you've been preparing for some time. That's right. The method I came up with involved a good amount of simple spade work. I see. Anyway, everything's more or less ready to go, but we still need the finishing touch. I'd like you to help me with that. I retrieve a sizable Duralumin case from behind the desk and swing it open. What's this? It's rather squishy, almost like clay. Guess it's not surprising that Sachi wouldn't recognize this stuff no matter how broad her studies may be. She may have heard of it, but that probably wouldn't translate into recognizing it by sight. I'm hoping to wrap this up before midnight, so I'm not going to explain it in detail at the moment. Just think of it as clay for now, like you said. This clay will enable us to eliminate the standardized test. Once you set some of that up in a few places, the job's done. I'll show you what needs to be done. Think you can handle that, Sachi? Yes, I'm quite proud of my sculpting ability. Please leave it to me. Your artistic talents aren't relevant, but whatever. That confidence should be more than enough to pull this off. First of all, I'll explain how to install it. You see this deep hole here? Getting all of those ready was one part of the spade work I mentioned. When you see a hole like this, install one of those long, thin pieces of clay inside, like so. If there's a square, draw on the wall instead. Set one of those square pieces of clay on top of it. That's all I need you to do for me. Any questions? None. Excellent, I've marked the points needed to cover on these plans, so go ahead and get started. I'll be taking care of something else in the meantime. Looks like that's about it. Sachi can't fully mask the weariness in her voice or on her face. No doubt a result of all the pressure she's been under lately. Our final task completed, we meet up in the courtyard as arranged beforehand. I really did just place some clay according to the marks on these plans. Will this truly enable us to prevent the test? Yeah, as long as we didn't make any mistakes, it will. Is that so? Of course she doesn't have the concrete details. To her, it was really nothing more than scattering some clay around the building. It'd be strange if she wasn't a little dubious at this point. Okay, I can tell you want to see some results, so let's get moving. If what I think happens is going to happen, then yeah, they better get far away. Where are we going? A place where we can overlook the school. Why is that necessary? You'll understand soon. Alright, I guess here will be fine. After about 20 minutes of walking, we reach a high place not far away. There's little cover of any sort. Below us, the reclaimed spit of land where our school stands lies clearly visible. This certainly overlooks the school. It's quite a pretty view, but Yukun, what are we going to do here? Before I answer that question, there's something I want to confirm. Yeah. You sure you want to do this? Fulfill this request? What exactly do you mean by that? You want to do what you're told without fail, to answer every demand anyone makes of you. And so you're absolutely determined to carry out even a completely unreasonable request like getting rid of a test. That's the choice you're making here. You sure you're not going to regret it? Regret it? Listen to me, Sachi, this is an important question. Think it over carefully and give me an honest answer. Sachi falls silent, a serious expression on her face. Looks like she's already started to deliberate. I don't know what she's thinking, but I don't know how she's reasoned her way through this question. But no matter how dependent she may be on others, no matter how passive and obedient her way of life, in the end her decisions are her own. If nothing else, I want to remind her of that. Yukun, I want to carry out this request. I need to be a good girl. That's the only way I can be myself. I see. Then I have no choice but to make her realize. Guess that's going to cause a bit of trouble for you guys. But those are the breaks. Your luck ran out the day I transferred into your class. Sorry, Sakaki, Amane, Michiru Makina. Alright then, throw this switch and you'll get what you want. With those words, I retrieve a crudely made remote control from my jacket and I hand it to Sachi. I just need to throw this switch. Doesn't look like much, does it? But I guarantee you this thing will get rid of the tests. Throw that switch and you'll stay a good girl. Certainly. After staring down at the small box in her hands for a long moment, Sachi shifts her gaze to our school, firm conviction in her eyes. Woohoo! My tummy's puffed up with all that tasty Chinatown food! Okay, I guess because the author felt like taking a little break from the serious. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had Chinese that good before. Oh, now we're hearing about Chinese food. God damn it! This was getting, like, pretty intense. Thinking about, like, imagining a school blowing up, and now we're hearing about Chinese food. Chiru, I'm kind of sleepy after eating so much. Let me use your lap for a pillow, okay? Yeah, so before we were just, like, looking at Sachi struggling internally to, quote-unquote, be a good girl, do what's being asked of her, then realizing that she's failed, having a little, like, emotional breakdown, realizing she's not gonna be able to do her task. And then Yuji basically is probably gonna have Sachi blow up the school. And why are we now suddenly talking about Chinese food? Why do I have to be your pillow? Only for a minute, you got that? Thank you kindly, Jello. Don't call me that. How about Juru? That's not even a nickname anymore. It's just a creepy sound effect. Well, not only did you treat us to a luxury all-you-can-eat buffet in Chinatown, you're taking us on a nighttime helicopter tour. I know your family's pretty well off, Takaki-san, but are you sure it's okay to live it up like this? Not a problem. The Chinese was the only thing I paid for, after all. Nothing important. Is that the Tokyo Tower? You know, the Tokyo Tower? I understand you're a little excited about your first aerial night view, but could you keep it down a little? So rude! This isn't my first time in the sky at night. I flew overseas a couple times for your information. I didn't know you'd been abroad, Michiru. That was a long time ago, though. Hmm? Anyway, this is a pretty cool thought, Takaki-san. Pretty memorable way to spend the last day of summer vacation. I suggest you direct your thanks to Kasami-kun. Why Yuji? Because he's the one who suggested this to me. Did he now? So that's why you've gone dairy on us all of a sudden. Anyway, I gotta say, Tokyo's really pretty and all, but we haven't been looking at our town much, have we? Can't do much about that. Mishimeke is practically the countryside by comparison. Not nearly as flashy. That ain't true. Look, something just flashed over there. Wait, where? Ah! A brief flash of light. Unlike an aerial bombing, there's no brilliant burst of flame to accompany the powerful sound of the blast. A pretty clean explosion as these things go. The school building where I spent the last 3 months of my life, and Sachi nearly a year of hers, crumbles noisily before our eyes. That's Mihama Academy, isn't it? Yeah, it was Mihama Academy at least. We just got rid of it along with that test. Then that clay-like substance I installed earlier, was that? Plastic explosives. Modern Japanese architecture is world famous for its strict building codes and sturdy engineering, you know. Demolishing even a modest-sized structure requires a lot of detailed calculations. And boring into the supporting columns is a pretty involved process. Just getting the necessary amount of explosives ready was a real challenge. Anyway, with the building itself gone, the school won't be up and running anytime soon. That test isn't going to happen. In fact, I expect that's going to be the last thing on anyone's mind for a while. I suppose you're right. Sachi responds vaguely to my explanation, her tone absent-minded. The words seem to have left her mouth out of reflex. Her attention is clearly glued to the building below, or what's left of it anyway. Considering all the time it took to set this up, it sure disappeared pretty quickly. That's true. Something wrong? This is what you wanted, right? Yes. It's just as you say, Yukon. Since there won't be any test, I fulfilled Michiru-sama's request. And that means I'm still a good girl. That's all I wanted. That's exactly what I've been trying so hard all this time to accomplish. I've succeeded, so this is rather strange. Why is my chest aching like this? Apparently unable to grasp her own emotions, Sachi continues to stare down at the rubble that was once our school. Her face blank with confusion. Can't understand where that's coming from, huh? Well, I guess that's not surprising. You never felt uncertainty about what you're doing, what you're told, have you? Never felt it necessary to even consider how obeying an order makes you feel. Then I put a hand on your cheek. Sachi immediately brings a hand to her face and her fingers brush against a small stream of tears. But why? The girl wasn't even aware she was crying. Her confusion only deepening, Sachi looks up at me with a face full of pure bewilderment. You may not be conscious of it yet, but a part of you already knows the answer to that question. What was that place? The school I've been attending for the last year. And a place where many, many things happened with you, Yukon, and other classmates. Specifically, what sort of things? We took many different classes together. We played the football, soccer, volleyball, kickball game. Once we ate flowing... Oh, salmon. I was about to misread that as semen. That... Okay, good thing that says salmon. I was about to say semen, fuck's sake. Anything else come to mind? Recently I shared my troubles and received a great deal of advice there. Advice about slightly naughty matters. Advice about fashion and my personal style. Even advice regarding the problems you asked me to solve, Yukon. So you spent a lot of time there. What sort of memories are these? Very happy ones, I think. At my previous school, I never would have thought it possible that a classroom could be such a lively, pleasant place. The townspeople likened Mahama Academy to be a prison, but when I transferred in, I found it quite the opposite. For the outside world had come to see me as a problem to be solved, this school accepted me. Michiru trusted me and relied on me. Maki-chan told me I was her best friend. Amani taught me so many things. Sakaki always watched over me from behind. Sachi no longer needs my questions to guide her. As she begins to understand the meanings of her tears, her honest feelings come pouring out of her mouth. A place of warmth and shelter, very much like the home I once loved so much. That was Mihama Academy I knew. Not a fact? This school was a very special place for me. Right. And you just destroyed that special place with your own hands. Since your 10th birthday, you've been clinging persistently to a single idea, telling yourself it's the one and only answer. Do what you're told, be a good girl, never disobey. And your stubborn adherence to that simplistic rule brought you to this moment. That can't be. Why? I tried so very hard all this time to do exactly what I was told. Why did this happen? If being a good girl can't protect the things I love, then what was the point of all my hard work? This isn't right. This is all wrong. I didn't want this. This isn't what I wanted at all. Remember what you said to me just a few minutes ago? You told me that being a good girl is what allows you to be yourself. That's the only way to ensure your happiness. Sorry, but you were wrong. That's not how this works. Sure, an intelligent, pathologically helpful honor student will probably make plenty of friends anywhere they go. You're so useful to have around. Most people probably treat you nicely enough for their own convenience. And when they realize what you were carrying when you are no longer of any use to them, I guess they abandon you quickly enough. That sort always will. But how about the people in this school? You think they're the same way? Do you really believe Michiru and Makina think of you as nothing but their personal lackey? Do you really believe they'd abandon a friend for failing to carry out a single order? No, I don't. That's right. You've been so afraid of losing something that you couldn't even see what you had. You've been going through life curled up in a shell, both eyes squeezed shut. In exchange for your brittle happiness, you've lost sight of what's around you. You've lost something you didn't even know you had. That's what I wanted you to realize. In trying to protect my happiness, I lost something? Yeah. You know, human beings may be the smartest animals currently straying around the earth, but that doesn't mean we're the wisest. No matter how much we learn or how advanced our civilization becomes, we're still complete idiots about the simplest things. When it comes right down to it, we don't realize how precious anything is until we lose it. I might be giving you a pretty pompous lecture right now, but I'm no exception to that rule myself. Then Yukun, you've also... Yeah. There was a reason I couldn't promise to play with you on your birthday. My sister had died in an accident. And with her gone, my family crumbled in on itself like a house of cards. I'm the only one who got out of it alive. Of course you didn't, I never told you. So Yukun, was this all your attempt to teach you what you learned then? Not entirely. I also want to learn something about you. About me? Yeah, there was a time when you could have asked me for anything, and all you requested was my praise. That's the one thing I've never really understood. But after hearing your feelings just now, I think I finally found my answer. I turned Sachi towards me and softly rested my hand on their head. It's been a long and lonely road, hasn't it? You did good, Sachi, you really did. Speaking in the gentlest tone of voice I can manage, I affectionately ruffle Sachi's hair. Her eyes wide open as saucers, and the next moment, fat tears running down her face. You were waiting to hear those words, weren't you? Utterly lost, overwhelmed by pain, sadness, and confusion, waiting for someone to show her the way forward. Waiting for someone to see the crushing guilt she carried, to know the punishment she levied on herself every moment of every day, and to tell her you've done enough. I see. Perhaps you're right. Is this a reality check or what? I've been so afraid for so long. When I got good grades on my tests or helped around the house, Mom and Dad would always smile and praise me. But all of a sudden they turned so very cold. The home I loved so much was filled with the droning of machines. And in the end they left me forever. All because I've been such a selfish little girl. And if only I'd been good. If only I'd listened, they would have stayed. So I decided never to fail again. To become the good girl I should have been all along. I see. Then I suppose I'm the only one who can tell you this now. You don't have to be a good girl anymore. I understand your feelings. I understand how hard you've tried. You've done more than enough. You can rest now. Is that really so? Yeah. Do I really not have to be a good girl anymore? Yeah, it's true. Her 10th birthday, a day that should have been full of happy memories, ended in an unimaginable tragedy. Ever since, Sachi's lived a half-life, bound tightly by the irrational guilt of a child, until this moment. The good girl she never truly was. The role she forced herself to play all this time evaporates with her tears in the warm night. All this time she suffered quietly, lacking her constant fear and pain somewhere out of sight. Nobody can erase those years, or the mark they've left on her. And nobody can undo the accident that ruined their life. There's one and only one thing I can do for Sachi right now. Hold her shaking body in my arms until her tears run dry. I apologize. I'm alright now. Right. When she's cried her fill, Sachi firmly wipes her cheeks dry and raises her head from its resting place against my chest. I do apologize for the unsightly spectacle. Nothing to worry about. A girl's tear-stained face is a special privilege reserved for her boyfriend. Nothing to worry about. Like, of course you'd start, like... I mean, like, once you just realized she blew up her school, I mean, of course that reaction was to be expected. Nothing to apologize. Of course you're gonna have, like, a mental breakdown and just realize you blew up your school. So see me cry as a reward for you? I did just blow up a school for you, remember? I don't think it's too much to ask. Kind of think of it, we really did destroy Muhammad Academy, didn't we? Although it's such a shock that none of this feels particularly real yet. Probably because Sakaki and Company is going to cause Sakaki and Company a lot of trouble. Not to mention everyone who works there. Is everyone alright? Was the dormitory damaged? Don't worry about them, they're in a safe place. That's very good to hear. Well, I know there's no academy, but is there also no dorm as well? It's a simple, earnest gesture, one that speaks volumes about our feelings toward our classmates. But even so, we truly have made a spectacular nuisance of ourselves. Perhaps we should consider cutting our stomachs open in an apology? That would make this whole thing kind of pointless, don't you think? Kind of think, but I suppose you're right. It feels like it's been an awfully long time since I've had one of those distinctive pure Sachi moments. That brings me a slight sense of relief. Somehow it makes me feel like all this wasn't a waste of effort on my part. We can't exactly go put the school back together again, but like I told you before, I spent some time on the planning phase here. And the big part of that was figuring out how to keep the damage and fuss to a minimum. Now that you mention it, considering the size of that explosion, there doesn't seem to be much of an uproar. I guess we gotta thank Chizuru and JB for that one. In other words, Haradera-san and Principal Tachibana were aware this would happen? When we entered the principal's office, didn't you notice that most of the books and documents were missing? I guess you had other things to worry about at the time, but in any case, yeah. I got myself in some pretty serious debt to make this happen. Just how large of a debt would that be? Let's see, even if I worked the rest of my life for free, I doubt I'd be able to pay this one back. Oh boy. Handle this sort of thing wrong and there's a possibility I end up getting disposed of through an accidental death. That's horrible. And you still did all this? That's just... From what I've seen, it was the only way to get through to you. You need to fail through success. If all I wanted was to get rid of that test, I could have just asked Chizuru. I hadn't even considered such a possibility. Exactly the reason I had to blow up the school instead. Sachi draws a sharp little breath and looks away, a tinge of sadness and guilt in her eyes. You know, Sachi. Yes? A little while ago I said you were wrong to think being a good girl would protect your happiness. But to be honest, I can't say your way of thinking was entirely mistaken. As a kid, you struggled desperately to find your answer. It got you back on your feet. You fought hard all this time living by that belief, and eventually you found people who understand you and care about you. You found what you were looking for. That's not a way of life you need to be ashamed of. But there's one important thing to keep in mind. You can't allow yourself to lose sight of what you're trying to protect. What I'm trying to protect? Yeah. No one's going to ask you to change who you are. You're probably going to keep on being a pretty good kid. And that means people are going to keep asking you for favors. And that's fine. All you need to do is think over every request individually. Think about what they're asking you and why. Think about whether it's reasonable. Think about the consequences of saying yes and then accept their decline. I know you're capable of making those decisions for yourself, Sachi. And if your confidence ever wavers, come to me and we'll talk over it together. I'll rack my brains with you until you make up your mind one way or the other. You can. There's not much else I can do, but I'll always be there to listen. Hearing those words, I believe I finally understand. Understand? Yes. There's another question you asked me, Yukon. That day on the beach, you asked why I pulled your sleeve. I think I found my answer. I couldn't think if I did ask something like that. And it left me entirely stumped at first. In the end, I asked the others for their thoughts. I see. So I guess I would explain the regular meeting Sakaki mentioned the other day. And according to our classmates, the answer was in fact quite obvious. They taught me I'd simply fallen in love with you, Yukon. Was that the correct answer? Oh, you asked me. Probably faster to ask your heart or hormones if you're feeling pragmatic. I suppose you're right. I want to see how everyone else is going to react to the destroyed school. I believe they were right. For some time now, I believe I've been guided by a single emotion above all others. What makes you think that? Just a little while ago, I was feeling perfectly normal. But now, just by being at your side, my heart's pounding like a drum. Blushing on unusually vivid shade of red, Sachi smiles up at me. Among all the expressions I've seen on her face these past few months, I think this one just might be the single most natural and the happiest. I see. Please allow me to make the formal announcement. I, Kamine Sachi, love you, Yukon. So if it's alright with you, I'd very much like to keep being your girlfriend. So she's basically gonna just confess to the guy who blew up the school she went to. Which would make absolutely zero sense in context, but... yeah, we've been being led up to this for basically the whole stream. It was almost like a lead-up. It's almost like I'm looking at a memory of the Sachi I knew as a child. There's a slightly enjoyable tickle of embarrassment on my chest. Seems I managed to win the girl over somehow, but this one gives as good as she gets. I came up with a lot of pretty decent justifications for trying to help her. Repaying the kindness she showed me as a child, discovering the meaning of my master's words, etc., etc. Let's be honest, it's a lot less complicated than that. I've been slowly but surely falling in love with Sachi for a while now. You want the girl you love to be smiling. When something's making her suffer, you want to get rid of it. That's really all there was to it. Is the long silence necessary? It's making me rather nervous. But your anxious face isn't half bad either. You're a bully after all. Don't get sulky, you're going to have to put up with this sort of thing on a regular basis from now on. Does that mean? Of course, if my pomposity is finally set off some warning bells, you can withdraw your candidacy before it's too late. No, I'm afraid you're stuck with me as well. Something about the pleasant warmth of her body brings the vague feelings I've been carrying all this time to sharp focus. I'm not very bright, am I? Yukun, you asked me to be your girlfriend. You told the others you would accept their request in my place. And you gave me so many words of encouragement and advice. But it took so very long for me to understand their meaning. I don't see the problem. Huh? This isn't a race. How long it took you isn't important. What really matters is how clearly you understand where you went wrong. And how well you can make use of that knowledge from now on. That's a wonderful sentiment. Can't take the credit. I'm quoting someone who's helped me find my own way of life a while ago now. In other words, you're Yukun? The hell is that supposed to mean? You've always helped me find my way. Yesterday and today, then and now, that's what it means. Nice to hear. I'll have to take Sachi's word for it, though. I really remember doing that much for her. But even if I'm not half the person my master was, I left a mark on Sachi's heart back then. And maybe in helping her now, I've managed to pay off some small part of the debt of gratitude I owe Asako. In any case, it was very kind of you to say that I need to change who I am. But I'm afraid I'll likely never be the good girl I was again. What does that mean? You told me you want to be myself. I think that means both the selfish person I was and the good person I've tried to become. I'm not fully me unless I accept every part of myself, am I? Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. And at the moment, I'm in the mood to be quite selfish indeed. You taught me something very precious today, and my gratitude is proving very nearly irrepressible. And above all else, I want to make you understand just how in love with you I am. Are they gonna fuck on the cliffside or something? Are they gonna fuck while overlooking the ruins of their school? I assume so. Just like that, she softly kisses me. Okay, maybe just a kiss. For the first time, I feel the warmth of her lips against mine. A long, gentle kiss as if to affirm our mutual feelings. As I savor that simple pleasure, I wrap my arms firmly around Sachi, pulling the weight of her body against me. For a long moment, Sachi closes her eyes and focuses entirely on the movement of her lips. When she finally pulls back to draw a breath, her mouth leaves mine with palpable reluctance. I love you, Yukun. And now. And from now on as well. Yeah, same to you, kid. Expressing your feelings and having them return in kind is a truly wonderful thing. That effect? I wondered for some time why you wouldn't kiss me. Why you never took our sexual encounters to a natural conclusion. But now I think I understand that as well. Let's hear it then. Because of this moment, because of what I'm feeling right now is a very precious thing. Nice work as always. I've heard the same many times before, but now that I fully understand just how much I care about the girl, the sincere gratitude in her voice inspires a wave of happiness that takes me by surprise in its intensity. And so I would ask that you allow me to keep expressing my feeling from this day forward. Including the things I wasn't able to say before, all of my feelings. You sure do ask a lot, don't you? I suggest you brace yourself. After all, you were my first love as well. Yeah, I'll strengthen my resolve. So Sachi can smile like this after all. I love you, Sachi. For the first time, I tell her exactly how I feel, and immediately thereafter, I bring my lips to hers. Being loved by someone, and loving them in return. A basic human experience. Normal, healthy emotions, uncomplicated happiness. The sort of thing I thought I'd lost forever a long time ago. But it seems the life I've led wasn't enough to permanently erase that part of me. I finally found it again. Savoring the pleasure of our simultaneous physical and emotional connection, we lie there for some time, enjoying the warmth of each other's bodies. Human warmth just might be the one and only drug God permits us. Or so I thought the first time I slept with a woman. The welcoming softness of their skin, the just right heat of their bodies, it's enough to make your brain melt out of your ears. When you got something like that lying in your arms, it's only natural you want to hold on to it forever. But unfortunately, only monkeys get to spend their lives immersing themselves in physical pleasure. And I happen to be a Heimer primate with other things to worry about. Specifically, the stunt I just pulled on behalf of the girl I fell in love with. It destroyed Mahama Academy, knowing full well how much trouble it would cause. I got to accept reality and own up to my actions. First and foremost, of the 4 girls who were so concerned for Sachi. Sachi! The instant we enter the dorm and announce our arrival, Michiru pounces like a twin-tailed tiger, wrapping both arms around Sachi. Please contain your lust, Michiru-sama. As I've said on numerous occasions, my sexual orientation... Do you really have to play dumb at a time like this? I'm just happy to see you safe and sound, idiot! Safe and sound? Me? We were flying through the sky and everything and it went boom, you know? We were crazy worried. Flying through the sky and it went boom? The 4 of us were taking a helicopter ride at the moment of our school's destruction. So the safe place you can refer to as the sky. Pretty pulse-pounding little tour, right? Just about right for the last night of our summer vacation. Yes, the absolute worst night view I've ever been subjected to. Sakaki's words are sardonic and accusatory, but the look on her face is surprisingly gentle. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely still a dorm. I don't get the impression she's actually angry. Well, yeah, nice to see you two alive and all. But we're going to need a really, really good explanation for this, okay? In contrast, Amane marches right up and grabs me on the shoulder, resembling nothing so much as an ogre who woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Sure, what do you want me to explain? Are you seriously trying to play dumb? Explain why your school was just destroyed, smartass! You have any idea how it felt running back home to find the school building a pile of rubble? I'm amazed the dorm's still standing. Ah, right, that. Are you for real? What's to explain? We just got rid of that test as requested. Just? You got a lot of nerve. I don't remember anyone asking you to get rid of the whole damn school. We were having a nice time flying around looking at the view and all of a sudden our school starts crumbling before our eyes. We practically had a collective heart attack up there, you know. Yumi-chan, for example, was all... Komine-san and Kazami-kun are down there! Let me off already! Threw a total tantrum at the poor old pilot dude, you know? Well, anyone would be a little flustered to see something like that. That's right, and what if we'd been in the dorm? With a shock like that, we'd be white-haired beauties by now. Sounds like a net positive, but in any case, that's the exact reason I made sure we were all in the sky. Makes sense. It's not really what I was asking. I want to know why you destroyed the school! As for that... You will, Sachin? Our acceptance of this request and the specific solution of demolishing the school. All of this was instigated by Yukun for my benefit. And so she explains clearly and frankly starting at the very beginning. The advice I gave her, the feelings I conveyed to her, the trauma of her past and the struggles she's undergone ever since. She doesn't hold back a thing. She doesn't flinch or hesitate. Therefore, this incident is entirely my responsibility. I know you care for this school no less than I, and because of my short-sightedness, it was destroyed. I'm truly, truly sorry. There's a reason everyone here avoids talking about the past. We all vaguely understand that it can't be a pleasant topic for anyone in a place like this. Sachi, of course, is no exception. Talking about this can't be easy for her, but even so, she lays everything bare in front of her friends and bows her head in sincere apology. How classmates still have in shock over the abrupt demolition of their school. Now have Sachi's complicated and unhappy life story to contend with as well. Finally understanding how their friend became the immediate maid they've joked about all this time, the 4 girls sink into awkward silence. Well, that's the way Sachi sees it. But the fact is, I'm the one who decided to blow up the school. I knew it was going to cause you trouble, but I did it anyway. And for what it's worth, I'm really sorry. You could. It's kind of hard to say anything when you both apologize so earnestly. Yeah, we just blew up your school. Please forgive us. Please. Have it in your hearts to forgive us. We just blew up your entire school. I swear, I did it for her benefit. Please. I more or less figured it was something along those lines. Sachi doesn't have to do anything she's told from now on, right? In that case, that's something to celebrate. I only cared about Sachi and only can't come back safe in the first place, you know? You're all very kind. Sachi must have been genuinely prepared for anger or rejection. When she receives warm words instead, tears well up in the corner of her eyes. Now she's finally realized just how important these people are to her. Her acceptance must feel incredibly good. I think I owe you an apology in particular, Sakaki. Well, now I understand that spontaneous expression of remorse earlier. Yeah, I know it's not enough just to say this, but I really am sorry. You don't particularly need to be. What? I have absolutely no idea how you managed to persuade my father, but... Even with our school destroyed, he's left me entirely alone, not so much as a phone call. I suppose that's just how little he really cares about this place, and the daughter he's keeping here. Not that I'm complaining. Even so. In any case, I doubt it'll take him long to prepare another birdcage. I'm aware Sakaki and her father didn't exactly get along, but... We're talking about a large modern building with top-of-the-line facilities and equipment. The initial construction costs alone would have to be well into the billions of yen. Dismissing something like that as a birdcage suggests she's still got a bit of the East Beach Group CEO daughter in her, whether she likes it or not. You can play it cool like that if you want, but think about it. You got a golden chance here, you know? Why not demand a little apology fun time? What? Don't be ridiculous. Maki-chan? Well, judging for how quickly things will return to normal. I guess learning Sachi's past isn't going to make them awkwardly self-conscious around her. I have to say, if things were heading in this direction, you could have at least talked to us first. Let's say I did. Would you have agreed to go along with the plan? Well, more importantly, getting this done requires some dicey maneuvering. If things had ended badly, your knowledge of the plan would have become a serious liability for you. Wait, hold on a second. Does that mean you two are wanted criminals now? I think there'd be a lot more fuss. Like police crawling all over the place for one thing. Right. Like Amane says, there's only a few cops standing outside the gate, no media presence whatsoever. I've noticed a few curious locals passing by to gawk at the rubble, but that's about it. So then, sorry to disappoint. Doesn't look like we'll be doing any time for this one. Jeez, don't startle me like that. Knowing you, I assume there were some measures in place to ensure such an outcome. I did what I could, but things could have played out differently. It came down to your father. I see. Seriously? I don't see a friggin' thing, personally. What kind of explanation is that? I was completely lost as mixture, but there's definitely a lot of things I don't quite understand about this. For one thing, why isn't there a crowd of people outside? Everybody has to notice an explosion like that. Allow me to explain. Thanks to you and Haradera-san, there really wasn't much for me to do. Seems the dice really did fall pretty nicely this time, almost freakishly so. Wait, so you knew Yushi was going to blow up the school, Principal Tachibana? Yes, of course. The blood drained from my face when he brought me the idea, but Kazami-kun was very adamant and made a persuasive argument that this would help Kamini-san in a way nothing else could. In other words, a hot young man looked into your eyes and begged, so you folded like a house of cards. That's absolutely not true! As an educator, I gave my cooperation entirely out of concern for my students' future and... Leaving that aside, even if you knew of his plan, I find it rather odd you're so calm. The matter in question took place with the full consent of society at large. Sorry, what does that mean? It means exactly what it sounds like. The destruction of our school building was a lawfully performed demolition. We even notified the neighborhood beforehand. Accepting a flyer from Principal Tachibana's outstretched hand, a puzzled mixture begins to read its contents out loud. Let's see. Message to the Mishima Cave community. As part of our planned renovation and construction of new facilities, Mihama Academy's main school building will be demolished by controlled implosion. What? Wait, I didn't hear a thing about this. The demolition is scheduled to take place on August 31st, 2011. What the heck is this? Well, it's exactly what it looks like. I made 2 specific requests of Chizuru. First and most important, they need to provide me with detailed blueprints of the school in order to ensure an efficient, reliable demolition and prevent any collateral damage to the dormitory that's become our home. And secondly, I asked her to provide advance warning and follow-up with the Mishima-Kate community. As Chizuru is both the principal of our school and the well-connected daughter of the prefectural governor, she was uniquely suited to play the role. In other words, the destruction of our school was announced beforehand. We simply carried out according to schedule. Nothing to warrant that much attention. So that's why everyone in the shopping district was being all sympathetic. Most likely, yes. Even so, the complete lack of television crews and newspaper photographers strikes me as rather odd. Not fully aware of the details myself, but it seems a gag order was issued. A gag order? Why on earth? You've heard of this before, Sakagi-san, but after a certain demolition went wrong in 1992, virtually no large-scale building implosions of this sort have been performed in Japan. Even the demolition of a single school might well become politically sensitive news. In any case, there would have been disproportionate media presence. Apparently our country found this prospect unpleasant enough to formally silence the press. What? Why are you surprised? I assume you and Howard Dare-san instigated that in the first place. Yeah, that we did. Figured as much. I knew you would take some sort of action on that front. But you've certainly exceeded my expectations. The country? Seriously? You people are unbelievable. I mean, I always had a feeling Yuji's out of the ordinary in a different way from the rest of us. But seriously, who are you? What again with this? Name, because I'm a Yuji. Occupation student. Currently attending Mihama Academy. We've been introduced, haven't we? Please, you're really not fooling anyone at this point. Was attending Mihama Academy. Just what I expect from a discreetly young lady like yourself, Amane. You're a damn good woman. Hearing that from the guy who chose another woman doesn't do much for me. I do apologize. Oh no, please don't. You're just rubbing salt in the wound. Forget that stuff. Shouldn't you be taking a bath right now? Your clothes are a mess, you know. Michiru reaches down and sweeps a few lingering clumps of grass from Sachi's skirt. Kind of think of it, so appears you're right. Nothing seems to have been damaged. The grand bath should be working fine. While you're at it, why not bring Oni-chan along? Maki-chan seems to have her heart set on this, so I suppose there's nothing for it. Let's bathe together, Yukon. Using her babbling as an excuse? You're shameless, woman. Your defenses are tight as always, Yukon. As a principal of this academy, I will not allow this dormitory to become a den of debauchery. Take your bath separately, please. Is this jealousy, perhaps? No, it is not! It's an exercise of my moral responsibility as an educator. What a disappointment. In any case, once you two have finished your baths, please have everyone gather here again. Once we've all calmed down a little, I'd like to explain the details regarding our temporary school facilities. Temporary school facilities? We may not have a building at the moment, we can't exactly stop learning now, can we? Just so you know, I put in quite a bit of effort to ensure we could begin classes right away. I kinda wish you hadn't. That sort of attitude is exactly why canceling lessons is not an option. Alright then, let's wrap this up for the moment. If you don't mind, I got a question first. Are you planning to hold that standardized test as scheduled? The instant the question leaves Sakaki's lips, Sachi's expression grows visibly serious. The entire plan was carried out under the pretext of getting rid of that test. I'd like to ask Kamine-san first. Do you still feel the need to prevent that achievement test from taking place? Halfway through a tentative sentence, Sachi closes her eyes and falls silent to think over the question more carefully. We watch and wait in tense silence for the result of her deliberations. No, I do not. Everyone's going to be taking the test, yes? Seems to me that we should participate as well. Are you absolutely sure about that? I get the impression Chizuru had been expecting this answer, but she gently asked for confirmation anyway. Yes, I'll work hard to get an excellent score on the test, and then have Yukon praise me. And Sachi's shamelessly cheerful response, delivered with a big smile on her face, takes even me by surprise. What? Wow, she's brazen all of a sudden. I'm too stunned to be pissed off. You're kinda cool, Sachin. Now we're back to the bragging, huh? Yes, congratulations on your boyfriend. Just a few hours ago, the girl had been willing to do anything and everything to get rid of this test. Up to and including something as dramatic as destroying her own school. So understandably enough, everyone was startled by your overwhelmingly bright and positive answer. It was undeniable proof that Sachi was no longer trapped by the skewed system of values she clung to for so long. Maybe that cheerful smile was a little audacious after all that, but nobody was about to criticize her for it. Once Chizuru let us know the standardized test would, in fact, be conducted a few days later than originally scheduled, we brought the gathering to a temporary conclusion. And after watching Sachi head off for a well-deserved bath, I pull out one of my cell phones to make a call. I'm gonna leave it here. Alright, so... we'll leave it here. So that was good 2 hours, 15 minutes. I mean, once I had a feeling the school was gonna get blown up or burnt down or something, I just couldn't only spend an hour on this. But I feel like we've definitely gone far enough in a single live stream as far as Grisaia is concerned. Or Fruit of Glee, or whatever you want to call it.